I would say, perhaps you can say Buddha and Mahavira are the only two human beings who have gone through many lives. From one extreme to another they went, and ultimately they found out that going to the extremes is not proper. Still, they have not reached the complete height of an incarnation. So, a model was to be created who would be all the time giving a fixed point for a person to rise to that. And these are the different models which are placed within us on our chakras. And these models are perfect models belonging to those chakras. So, according to the nature of the person who is watching these chakras, one sees them and gives them importance also. Now, for a person like Shankaracharya is a born realized soul many a times. He is not born realized once, but many a times he is born realized, and he is in the center of it. We can say one of them, we can call him. So when he talks of his Muladhara chakra, he has already done the path many a times, and now he is going to the subtler and subtler and subtler form. So when he says that the Muladhara chakra is opened out, then you can walk on the water, is correct, because he is at that subtle stage of ascendance. One has to ascend once, second time, third time, fourth time, and then you reach a stage where you start ascending. But even then, it is not so important to walk on the water. What is so important to walk on the water? It's nothing so important, because you see, it's easy, you can take a boat and walk. It's nothing so important. So, walking on the means also on the right hand side. Is the right hand side to walk on the water, or say to fly in the air? All this is the right hand side things, which also can be done with the help of a boat or a an aircraft, or even we can use a boot. For that we can use a dead entity, and we can make him take us to any place we feel like. Which can be done. This ESP business is only that. So it can be done by other methods also. So it is nothing important that, you see, it's sometimes very confusing when we see that some people can fly in the air. They say in the subtle form they have gone. You don't see the body moving, but you see that they can feel it. The difference being that the people who are realized can guide themselves, and you can see them bodily moving. But those who are not realized, they find their subtle being taken out, and their consciousness going with them somewhere else, and they are sitting on top of the house. Some they are watching themselves, and they are sitting there, and they see themselves sitting down like that. You see, these phenomena take place. That is absolutely nothing but a soul being ridden by a dead entity. So there's nothing great about it. That is also a right side stuff. The left hand side, as I told you, is the emotional feeling about things. You see, you feel tremendous love for others, and sometimes, people, I would say Sainath was one of them who had this left hand side gift with him, and he was love personified, and he was so much full of love for people that once there was a woman who was very poor, and she couldn't celebrate her Diwali day, and he couldn't bear it, so he gave her some water, and the water became like oil, and she burnt lights in that. And it's a fact, you can do that, it's possible. And with this power you can increase food, sort of thing. You see, you increase the food stuff, you are going to some, like Christ did it, you see, that's also one side. So all these things come in a personality. Some people have one more, another have some more, and some people have all these qualities. Those who are incarnations have everything. They can do everything that they want to, and they will use whatever they want to do. If they don't want to use any powers, they will not use. So it depends on. So it's nothing important. Supposing you see something, all right, there you can see it is a good thing, but that doesn't mean that you should stick on to those things. But you must try to do what you don't see. For example, now you see the light coming out of somebody's head. Now, that's one side of looking at things. Another is that you can feel the another person. When you feel the another person, how he is, how he needs you, how you are coming closer to that person, can you feel that compassion for him, that he is not where you are? That also is another balancing stuff. But this should be done. This is very dangerous for some people who try to be helpful to others when they are not themselves solidified properly. So I would again warn you that when you start seeing lights and all that, try to remember that you are going on one side, you are seeing more. Then be more compassionate in your tongues, in your talking, in your behavior. Try to have more love. Means right hand side is more developing, the left is less. Is the heart. So you have to raise your kundalini from right and left. But it's all mechanical, it works out. It's only thinking about it. Oh, I have to develop my heart more. The balance has to be there. This also should be there, the feeling for others. Now the feeling for others cannot be explained as I feel for others. Okay? If somebody is crying anywhere, I get tears into my eyes automatically. Even if you are not crying and if you are feeling hurt about things, I get this hurt feeling within myself. Like that. You see, you should really feel that hurt feeling and that desperate feeling and that cry. Of course, I mean, it comes to some people too much, but they do not have the other side. So you should have both the sides and both the balancing characters within you. So those who are seeing things more should not go on bothering about what they are seeing. It's coming that way, alright. Because they have done that kind of a tapasya, so they see things. And it helps Sahajog very much because you can see for yourself who is realized, who is not realized, this thing, that thing. But still the dryness is in you. So if it is in you, you should try to develop it. So whatever you don't have, you try to develop that. Whatever you have, don't be satisfied with that. That's the best way you can rise. You see, those people who can see things should try to feel others. Those who can feel others should try to see things. And it should work out that way. So this is what it is. And in the Mahakarana state, where the Mahakarana is, that is a very, very subtlest form of state where the chakras which have got the deities are connected with the sort of reflection of the deities of the Virata. Now these deities in the Virata are reflected in you, are awakened in you, and they start moving and making the whole thing work out as it should be. Up to the Karana state, it is very good. But Mahakarana state is the state where it is the real, what you call the object and reflection. When you can come up to the object, which is a very deep state of mind, where you are with the object. And when you are at the object, you are very close to an incarnation state. So, we can say that as far as you people are concerned, you should try to understand up to Karana state, because beyond that, how to jump and how to go is not the question just now. Versus of telling you about something which is a far-fetched stuff. So we'll talk about it later. But this is how it is the 4 states of chakra. Now, दूसरा प्रश्न हुआ ना उत्तर का त्रिचक्र. हाँ. He says you see it anti-clockwise. You do see, because most of the people who have seen it on other people. And when you see on other people from the back side, you see it on the anti-clockwise side. But if you see it from the front, it is clockwise. That's why.
What I say,
हाँ.
you feel the chakras moving one outside your body.
हाँ.
Feel the chakras moving.
Yeah, it depends on, what I have just now told you, that the chakras, say for example for an ordinary human being, the chakras are nothing but ordinary plexuses. For a realized soul, it is a more than that. So the more you move into a greater V of your own awareness, that's how the chakras start manifesting. Now for example, my chakras are working all over. You see the difference. So it depends on the awareness of person. Dasa Deepasan, Tasat Prakash Pade. As much as the light now says, that much is the extension of the light. As much is the power. So that's what it is. So, शरीर जे आहे, शरीर हे म्हणजे ग्रोथ आहे, पण आधी ग्रोथ होतं. वाइब्रेशंस फार आने लगे. अच्छा, अब हो गया चक्रों पे बात करें. Now, is there any question left on chakras?
About the number of petals.
Yes. Number of petals are also gross stuff, you see. Till you go to a certain stage, there are petals are being created because of, there's a little mathematics about it, little mathematics. And all this mathematics has been worked out in a human being, how it is. But these are the, we can say that now, for example, in a person now, a light is there. Say 25, what do you call 25? Watts. 25 watts. Now, 25 watts are to be converted, say, to, say, 60 watts or something like that. So, you have to see the dimension into which the person is, that portion is going to grow, you see. It's a big mathematics about it, the dimension to which that can grow, you see, and into what sphere it is going to penetrate. For example, now the Muladhara chakra you can take, for example. Now, Muladhara chakra is actually 4 petal because it covers the 4 sides of the human personality. It's a very abstract calculation. It is the 4 side of the personality, and the 5th side, the movement in the 5th dimension, doesn't take in the Muladhara chakra. It takes above the Muladhara chakra. So the 4th dimensions are shown by that. You see? These are the different dimensions of a man. At those levels, how many dimensions is touched by these petals? It is calculated like that. In my book, I have given most of these in very great details as to what are the dimensions one touches in this thing and how far you go. But the same Muladhara becomes only 2 later on. But it is such a subtle and sharp tool, which is very, very, which penetrates just like this all over. So it is it depends on the, you can say in a machine, you have different types of bolts and different types of screws and with different dents. Now, what is the calculation is an engineer can say why is it so. So, you see, it is a very detailed work and it's all worked out because the dimensions into which a human being will be going, and all that is worked out, and on that chakra only these dimensions you achieve. So, it has a meaning, but it's not only 4 chakras. It's not only 4, it has got many petals inside, and it's a very interesting one. Actually, in Muladhara I've written a big chapter complete. How many folds are inside and how these things work out, and how many folds, what do they suggest, and how far they open out, because it's all a dimension which is worked out. For example, if you take a banyan tree, the seed is so small, a banyan tree has the smallest seed. Now, why is it so? And why is it so microscopic? Because it is so dynamic. So it is all worked out like a capsule, you see, and it's a capsule which is to work out this dimension, it has to work out that dimension. So it is a sort of a rather a calculated stuff which I have described. I have only described Muladhara really in the full this thing because it made such a big volume of one Muladhara chakra that I gave up about others. I have just mentioned about them. But only Muladhara itself, when I started describing, it became such a big, huge thing. I gave in, I said, no, better not do other ones. But it's quite a complicated stuff, you see. And you see, God has his own style of planning, and we can't question him. He does it according to his own whim, you know, his own style. But his whim has understanding. Everything has. You will find that sometimes, you see, if you try to study that, if you ask me certain things, I try to answer it in a different way, you see, because there are his ways of doing things, and he understands, and that's how he does it. But still I have tried to bring out at least Muladhara chakra, so that human beings must understand that how complicated they are made, how God has been so careful to place their Muladhara so well, and how he has put the force there, how it's a living machinery, how it's working out, so that people should understand the importance of their chakras and importance of their being, how important you are. You are not ordinary people. Even if there's a ordinary tape recorder, we are so careful about it. How much we should be careful about our own machinery, which is being created in ages with such great understanding, with such mechanism. Every chakra, if you take up, even if you take up 3 You guys, you won't understand one chakra. It is such a tremendous working inside. I have of course given only the description of it, and the reason why is a stage which will make you really mad. But I've tried to explain in that. You have read my Muladhara, did you? It's quite elaborate stuff.
In Delhi, the question was, what is the purpose of life? Buddhism said purpose, of all this incarnation is to go in nirvana, which is nothingness, where nothing happens. Then, in the Christian tradition, it is also perfection, which is conceived as a total union with God, which is immobility. Now you said it is not like this. You are going to incarnate. Liberation is not just something which is immobile, somewhat. You are going to incarnate again and again. Then the question I'd like to raise in connection with the chakra is, what is the purpose of life? I understood before that the supreme thing is to be united with God, whatever this means. And when I'm united with God, there is no movement anymore.
But that stage I never cancelled it. That stage is not today. See, when I said it that just now you have to incarnate again and again, you are not at that stage. But when the whole thing, you see, nothing is wrong in any one of these. When they say there is a day of judgment, but before that God is going to give you a chance. He is going to give you full chance to improve yourself, go to that position. You see, like that we can say that first the trees are brought into being by sowing the seed, then the trees grow up, then there are flowers, then the flowers are again, they become seeds, then again the trees, then again this thing, until they reach a certain stage, till they have completely ripened, then they remove the whole thing, and the whole thing becomes the Brahma itself. And whatever is the waste matter is thrown up. So ultimately it's the union, but the union of your being with God is a much later stage. First of all is the purification point. You see, for your purification you are to be born again. You have not reached that stage where you should become Mahanirvan. Have you? If you become, might be you might land up in hell. So better not try that. See, you must understand that just now at this stage you have to go further, purifying yourself till you reach a certain stage. You see, where? When you reach a certain stage, at that time God has given you enough chance to improve yourself. Still you are Rakshasas, then you are not going to be tried anymore. But it's quite near, I must say. You cannot now allow it to take the chance. It's quite near. One of the halali is called one of the butchery is going to be very close. It's very close. I would say it can be any time. So you be careful. It's just there. So many have to be neutralized because they are just very troublesome. It can be quite close. So be careful about it. So you see, everything fits into everything else. But what happens with every religion? Part of it is said. So this cuts out the other. Supposing I say you have to go to this room. Now if I say that you have to come 2 steps that side, and then I say no, you have to come 3 steps this side. These are all connected stuff. But because it is said only 3 steps here, so you say then in that religion it is said 3 steps inside. And what about those 2 steps? I have to tell about them also. Because I have to tell about all those 2 steps you have to take first, I better not tell you about these 3 steps first, because you will put your eyes, oh very nice. It's not going to come in a plate. You have to work it out consciously. Understand now?
Yes. Just now you said that after death, this Atma and the Kundalini will separate out from the
body
element. But then where do the chakras go?
Chakras exist within you. Chakras is a place. They just exist within you. You see,
within the earth element.
Huh?
Within the earth element.
No.
How it goes with the...
No, they are in the body only. They are in the body. The body is like a seed. You see, you become like a seed. But they are potent. You can't see them. Chakra is a space.
But then chakra and Kundalini must be living together.
No. You see, when it is something like a light going out and the tube is still there. It is like that. The Kundalini, but it stays on top of the head of the person. Only difference is supposing the light goes out and stays nearby. You see, the potential is there in the light. It is like that. The place for the light to pass is there.
And one more thing you said about when these
parasympathetic and sympathetic, when they separate out, then that particular person goes to the extremity.
Extreme.
The extreme. And in that case, what happens before our realization, whether they are superimposed one over the other, the sympathetic and parasympathetic.
No. They are already separated in the gross, they are separated, inside also they are separated, but there is a void.
This is the only kind.
Because yes, that is the only thing. You see, the Kundalini gets enlightened, or sort of she gets a little enlightened, we can say, when it faces me and it starts rising, or when you people, because you are also Sahaja Yogis. It doesn't happen with anybody else, you will be amazed, So now, what is the other question? Should we?
We actually do this sort of thing, try to activate our chakras by giving clockwise or anti-clockwise movement. But in fact, chakras, they turn horizontally in the body. How the chakras move in the body.
Yes, that is true. They are moving horizontal. They are moving horizontal, but when you move them like this, you see, like you have seen the wheels.
Why not we do this way?
No, it doesn't work out. It works out better this way because you see, these are the things that are emitting. You see, if you do it like this, it goes down. But this way, these are moving. You can move this. You have seen that in a watch. You have some like this parallel, and some are like this. काय कसं आहे का कसं आहे ठीक आहे